Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. So, I am super excited for my special guest for today because he is not only one of the top real estate leaders in the industry today, but he is also one of the longest running real estate leaders for our countries internationally at our brokerage, eXp Realty. And that is none other than Andrew Thompson, the country leader for eXp South Africa, one of, if not the most successful eXp Realty country in terms of agent count growth outside of the US and Canada. So, in a mere 5 years, Andrew Thompson has helped champion and lead eXp South Africa from zero real estate agents back in 2020 now to over 1,300 agents in the country of South Africa, which is now one of the highest populated of eXp agents in all of the world out of the 27 or so countries that we are currently in. So, Andrew, man, welcome to the show. I know you're a busy guy, so thanks so much for taking some time today and joining us.
Kobe, thanks so much. Just really great doing these kind of shows, and also just love your energy, your approach, your professionalism, and certainly looking forward to discussing a few things with you. I do want to start with a little bit of a light-hearted note. I met Glenn Sanford just over a year ago down in Cape Town. He came out to a Build Africa conference, and we had such a great session with him. Immense person, nice personality, oozes integrity, and has got an incredible presence. And I got interviewed with him up on stage, and jokingly, I just nudged him on his leg just to say, Glenn, how long did it take you to go from in America from zero agents to 1,000 agents? And he said, Andrew, it took me about 7 years, which it did. And I said to him, by the way, South Africa, we went from zero agents to 1,000 agents in 3 years. So just a joke with him, I said, why were you so slow in a bigger country with more real estate agents across America and here in South Africa with 60 million people, 44,000 real estate professionals in our country? We certainly turned the needle, but a good laugh and a bit of fun. So thank you.
Yeah, and that just shows like how great of a leader you are, and you can just tell from a quick interaction here. If this is the first time you guys are seeing Andrew, his energy is super awesome. He's always really excited about sharing the EXP model and also helping other real estate agents succeed. So that is no surprise that you guys have went from zero to 1,000 agents so quickly. So Andrew, man, why don't you, before we get started, share with us a little bit about yourself? And really, how did you get involved with eXp as the country leader and really kind of agent number one over there in South Africa?
Kobe, yeah, I grew up in a small town and both my parents were teachers. So there seems to be a little bit of sort of training, education, that kind of thing in my background. But funny enough, the minute I came out of my school years, my educational years, I decided to become a hotelier. And I ended up being a trainee in hotels, making beds, cooking eggs and bacon, and being a chef and all those kind of things. And I started right down at the bottom rung of the hotel business. And I ended up over a 20-year period, I became an operations director for a large hotel group here in South Africa. And I managed some 31 hotels between Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa. And large game lodges to resort hotels to big corporate hotels. And I think it was such a great grounding for me in my corporate career because what it did, it just showed me how you can add value to people's experiences. And I've used that throughout my entire corporate career, where, in our business now today, the agent is the king and queen of our business, the decision maker in our business. And you've got to be all ears towards the agent. But if you can add value and create wow factors and do things differently and uniquely and disrupt the industry in that sort of manner in a very personal sort of approach, that's extremely good. But 20 years as a hotelier, I got tired of chasing planes, trains, and taxis. There was no Ubers in those days. And I ended up resigning from the hotel business and I got into the development game. Large scale developments, 2,000 to 4,500 housing opportunities in one sort of gated community, as we call them in South Africa. And right at the end of that experience, after 16 years, we wanted to ensure that we had international reach. So I started a small Keller Williams franchise here in Umhlanga Rocks, where I live in Durban area, KwaZulu-Natal. And I got that up and running, 15 months of operation, 51 agents. Loved the experience, but I had had so much interaction with real estate professionals through the development phase in coaching agents on how to sell developments and specifically our developments. And the Keller Williams experience, it was a good grounding, a good experience in terms of real estate, etc. And I was so delighted when eXp arrived in South Africa because there was like a whole culture shift from how I was operating in the past to just this enlightening, visionary approach. And like I said earlier, disruptive technology, great people, incredible company to work for. And I was approached by a gentleman by the name of Bill Campbell. And he said, Andrew, I want to take you across virtually and go sit you in an office with a gentleman back then, Michael Valdez. And I got interviewed by Michael Valdez, had the interview, and Michael said, we'd like you to be the CEO, the country leader for eXp Realty South Africa. And I said, I'll take it on with open arms. And why? I love selling destinations, number one. So South Africa is a destination, great destination to sell. The interaction with real estate professionals, I love that interaction, and just really nice people in the real estate industry. And I've got the ability to build a really wonderful leadership team. And I just really love the thinking of eXp and how it's changing the shape of real estate. And it's a very easy story to tell. And I think you've bought into that yourself. So thank you very much indeed, Kobe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm seeing this happen across the world, right? With country leaders, with, real estate agents, brokers who are adopting the eXp business model. So when you guys were first getting started, right? I mean, obviously, you guys have done such a great job of growing and expanding the model. So when you guys were first getting started with eXp Realty in South Africa, did you see, I guess, a lot of pushback from agents when you were trying to expand? I know it was during the pandemic, right? It was during the end of 2020. So it was a really interesting time because usually then you think that's when companies start kind of hunkering down, but eXp was expanding during the middle of a global pandemic. So how was that experience like trying to grow this, seemingly perfect model in the middle of kind of a global shutdown?
Kobe, I think the most important part of the startup of a business, you've got to realize that you're going to project manage it in. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is you want to attract influential people. And I think that was the trick to South Africa was we attracted very influential people that could go out and tell a really great story. So COVID really played into our hands because being virtual, having the ability to work from home, if you've got a good computer, great Wi-Fi connection, effectively you can work from wherever you are in the world. And it really did play into our hands. And, we weren't even allowed to do show houses and go take people out to see properties, etc. We were literally isolated to our virtual office. And our agents became very clever very quickly as to how you could do sales through our virtual office without even visiting the property. So it really played into our hands. And, like I said, the project management side of things, really pulling all the tools, the technology, the systems, the people, coaching, educating, sales, marketing, operations, administration, pulling the finance, the legalities, the independent contract agreement, policies and procedures, allowing the joint application to work, and starting to get into an automated process. It's just been an incredible journey and absolutely loved it.
Right. And you guys have been, really leading the charge on that, right? So I think, in EXP South Africa, you guys are one of the first countries to, really paint the picture of all of the different services that you guys are partnered with locally. And that's what I think one of the biggest strengths of the EXP model is that you don't just have this global network of agents where you can tap into resources, but you also, make sure that you are partnered with the right companies, the right vendors to help real estate agents transact locally. So I'd love for you, Andrew, to be able to share a little bit of that on what is the EXP model doing specifically in the country of South Africa to help the real estate agents there locally to transact more, list more homes, and essentially serve more clients in their day-to-day business.
Yeah, so Kobe, just to take us into that, so family community is very important to us as a business, and I think the collaboration and the collaborative spirit amongst the agent team is absolutely vital in terms of building and growing this team. The tools, the technology, the systems, what we did was we've gone with a rep system, but we've also backed it with a CRM and a listing platform that agents are really comfortable with locally here in South Africa. And we offered two alternatives. One is PropCon and the other was PropData. And the agents just love those experiences. They feel they're comfortable with it. And we've had the ability to propel our listings into the likes of private property P24 through a feed, a local feed in the country called PropData. We also use systems like flow marketing in terms of very targeted social media campaigns to sellers, buyers, investors, developers, and even doing agent attraction, because we do a number of events across the country, and you can almost handpick clients or agents across the country to come through the flow marketing element through social media to attend the venues that we are presenting at across the country. So flow marketing, very important to us. I just love the tools that eXp's really introduced to us. Home Hunter, and Glenn Sanford's been the sort of driver behind that and pulling it all together, where it's technology, it's a tool that's in your pocket, in your phone, and you've got the ability to cache properties around your searches as a potential buyer. And the nice thing is eXp always comes to the top, and it's driven by artificial intelligence. And to me, this is probably one of the most visionary items that we have within our toolbox to ensure that we're at the forefront of real estate and the future of real estate. We operate with vendors locally like the virtual agent. That's for owner information, owner credentials, where you can tap into that and identify individuals that you want to work with, sellers in terms of selling properties, and landlords in terms of renting properties. And I think vitally important is Lightstone. So through Lightstone, you can identify in streets, in roads, in suburbs, properties that you want to search, identify the owner or the landlord, and you've got the ability then to search on the virtual agent system that we have and find out exactly what the contact details of those individuals are. Some of those are just the basic approach to how we operate, but I really believe the trump card for us is this virtual world that we operate in. And the reason why I do mention that, it is so forward thinking in terms of 4.5 years ago, I came into the Verbella world as a very funny little avatar. And funny enough, that avatar has almost started to take the shape of yourself. You are Kobe King, okay, and I am Andrew Thompson, and it's starting to take the look and feel of you as an individual. And I envisage in 2 to 3 years' time, we're going to be going into virtual environments where I will be able to walk around you as your own persona in 5D and 5G. And that's going to be the ability of our technicians within eXp to just deliver something absolutely extraordinary in the future.
Yeah, it has. I mean, we've seen this, right, since 2020, the evolution of the virtual world and how that's been able to affect and change how we do business as real estate agents. And I mean, we can just go into that cloud system and get instant support from staff members, talk to other agents, talk to country leaders like yourself, right? And we were able to do this, like you mentioned, our avatars are now actually starting to look very, very lifelike. And it brings up an interesting point because every single time that I've heard you talk, Andrew, whether if it's, in a panel at our EXPCon in person, which, had a very good opportunity to meet in person around last year, or if it's during a webinar that you're hosting or a Zoom call that you're hosting, I think you're always very tech driven and forward thinking in terms of that, right? You're talking about the virtual world and where you foresee that, moving forward. You're also talking a lot about AI and artificial intelligence and how to leverage that as a real estate agent. So I would love for, you to share a little bit on that. It's, what was it that drove you to become such a kind of forward thinking individual when it comes to tech? And how are you implementing it when it comes to helping training and develop the agents that are currently with and that will be joining eXp in South Africa?
Yeah, so Kobe, without diving into too much of it, what's actually happening is whatever we're learning through the likes of Glenn Sanford, the likes of yourself, the likes of the technicians within our organization, the developers, etc., the propeller head guys, we're just absorbing that information. We're taking it in and interpreting it in a way where our agents can really understand it from a basic perspective. So people mustn't fear technology. My feeling around technology is there to allow the agent to sing. And if we can allow you to sing and get out there and do more sales and more procurement rentals, any technology that supports that is vitally important. And I think what it really it does come back to, and I do want to just go back to your previous point and why the virtual world is because now us as a company, we've got the ability to really offer the best compensation model the world has ever seen. Now, if you really think about that, there are not many, or I don't think there are any other companies out there at the present moment that really pay you a really good commission in the manner that eXp does. Pays you revenue share in the form of a bonus, okay, gives you the ability to earn shares in the company, become a partner, become a shareholder, and then obviously third party income in South Africa going 100% in the direction of the agent. So what I love about eXp is the ability for leadership to interpret the technology, to transform that into training, education, to give a genuine toolbox to our very own agent team. And the nice thing is that agent center or that toolbox, all you need is one email address, and it's almost like a Netflix account. For 900 Rand a month, you can join eXp Realty South Africa. We unlock your technology through one email address, and the toolbox opens up for you, and you can handpick exactly what you want to utilize in order to perfect your game. And I say to our very own agent team, if you're not waking up and thinking, what is going to land in my pocket on a day-to-day basis in terms of commission, revenue share, shares, and third-party incomes, then that activity is not worthwhile doing. All right, so I'd love people just to think about it in that sort of manner, and I hope I've added some value to your people's experience. Thanks very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that eXp Realty in South Africa is the best compensation model for real estate agents. So if you could touch on that a little bit more. I know you mentioned we have a great commission split, we have a revenue share model, but for agents out there who, may or may not have heard or understand truly what the eXp compensation model looks like and how it can benefit them, what is the true benefit, right? Why are agents flocking over to eXp just to simply take advantage of our compensation model?
Yeah. Kobe, I think it's life-changing. I think people are flocking towards us because they realize that there's an exit plan at the end of it. And to me, everything about life is about sustainability. And with sustainability, you want to ensure that you're leaving a legacy for your future life, for your spouse, for your children, for your grandchildren. And through eXp, you can leave that legacy. A simple example of that is revenue share. Revenue share you can will to a member of your family. You can pass it on. The work that you've done over the last 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, whatever it might be, is a give back to your future generations, being your own children and your future grandchildren, and so on. And I just believe the legacy of eXp is just going to expand across the world. And I love Glenn Sanford's approach. 10 years, 100 countries, 1 million agents. Just imagine being a part of that journey. How cool is that? And to me, that is absolutely amazing. So back to your question, how do you join eXp Realty South Africa? 900 Rand join fee. There's a 900 Rand monthly fee to open that toolbox for you in terms of all the tools, the systems, the tech, etc. The commission works, you either land with 71% in your pocket commission on any commission split. There's a cap value which comes out of a 25% portion, building up to a cap value of 150,000 Rand locally in South Africa. And once that cap is met, the agent shifts to 100% commission. And once that 100% commission is achieved, effectively we take off 4% transaction fee on every single transaction. So effectively the agent nets out on 71%, caps at 150,000 Rand, and nets out on 96% commission. And then the nice thing is on a bonus on every single month, if you're driving revenue share, building an international organization of real estate professionals, 7-tiered structure, effectively there's a bonus that comes through to you on a month-to-month basis, 10% of gross commission income through that structure coming in your direction to say thank you very much for growing the company. And then certain milestones when you do a first sale, when you cap, And when a sponsor's agent on their first tier closes their first deal, in all those situations, you have the ability to earn equity awards and incentives, and it works out at 2,000 Rand, 4,000 Rand, and 4,000 Rand, respectively. And then third party incomes through bond originators, concierge services, banks, relocation specialists, etc. Those fees and commissions go 100% in the direction of the agent. And there's no other company doing that in South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the cool things about the EXP model is that we're not a franchise, right? We are not a franchise model, so we don't have an additional royalty or a franchise fee on top of what you just mentioned as far as our commission splits and our compensation model. And I think that's where it becomes really cool for an agent because you're not only just not, being tied down to a specific location, you're really connected with all of the other agents, right? Not just around South Africa, but also around the world, all 90,000 agents almost working together and sharing deals. Have you seen a lot of that happening with your agents over in eXp Realty South Africa?
Yeah, the collaborative spirit across the countries. We're seeing money coming into South Africa. We're seeing money leave South Africa. We're monitoring that. We see deals done between Italy and South Africa, Portugal and South Africa, and vice versa. Certainly deals happening between USA, South Africa, etc., across the globe. You have someone leaving South Africa to go to New Zealand or Australia, etc. Agents in South Africa can be part of the deal here locally in South Africa and also be part of the deal of the future occupation in New Zealand, Australia, or any of the other countries. And the really nice thing is, you as an individual agent in South Africa, you can list a property within the boundaries of South Africa. And that's it, the franchise operations don't allow for that because there's farming areas. You can only restrict it to a suburb or a town or a city, whatever the case might be. With eXp, your boundaries are the country boundaries of South Africa, and you can refer buyers to any country across the globe. And then the really nice thing, Kobe, is with my eXp, I call it Sponsors Without Borders. And you've got the ability to influence agents to join in other countries across the globe where eXp flag is flying. And I think that is just a wonderful opportunity. And what we're finding is we're finding a few of our South African agents, especially the big influencers, they're starting to find agents in France and in Italy, Portugal, and the countries that we're operating in across the globe.
Right. And that's really cool about the revenue share model, right, that you just brought up, is that you're not limited to just your physical location and you don't have a geographic limitation on where you can grow your revenue share organization. And what you brought up there also of, being an eXp South Africa agent, you can actually list properties all across the country. So that
Correct.
gives you maximum, I guess, flexibility and freedom because that's something that just because one of the other cool things about the EXP model is that we have the same structure, but it's a little bit different per country just to make sure that it's within compliance of the real estate laws. So that's something that we couldn't even do here in the US because we have our MLS, we have our realtor boards that, essentially our license is tied to. But now if you're a EXP Realty South Africa agent, you can simply, be able to do business all across the country. And that's a big benefit because you can move around and you can extend your market share as well.
Kobe, you think about it, under traditional agency in South Africa, you would very, very rarely find a Durban agent listing a property in Johannesburg. You would very rarely find an agent listing Cape Town properties when the agent is living in Durban, just talking about the three biggest cities in South Africa. Now, if you really think about it, what's happening within eXp Realty South Africa, you got Johannesburg agents that have found the market there a little bit stagnant. So as opposed to them relocating down to the coastline and going finding properties down there, they're starting to shop around online and finding sellers in destinations like Knysna, George, Stilbaai, Cape Town, wherever it might be across the country, securing the stock and at least partaking in some of the deal. Okay, in terms of securing, owning that stock and effectively having the ability to attract referring buyers into that structure and while still living in Johannesburg, but marketing in another destination. And our agents are getting very clever with that. Quite a nice story. We've got Alette and Paul Smith. Alette and Paul Murray. They are two local agents, husband and wife team, and they decided to sell their home, and they've got into a 4x4 with a caravan behind, and they travel around South Africa. And in actual fact, they've recently spent 5 months in America. They were still doing referral deals in America, earning income back here in South Africa, and they were still earning revenue share while spending 5 months living in America. And they don't own a home in South Africa. They just travel on their trips. They go to the Kruger National Park. They go to all the game reserves and they set up camp there. They've got a good computer, great Wi-Fi connection, and they're connected to their business. Simple as that.
That is so cool. So you have the ultimate flexibility, right? You can travel even outside of the country and still continue earning, like you mentioned, revenue share, continue doing referral deals. And I think that's what a lot of agents are looking for is that true freedom, right? I was thinking yesterday how real estate agents and even most countries, they don't necessarily have that location freedom if they're traditionally with, an old school brokerage or an old school agency. With eXp, you really now have not just the ability to earn time and money freedom through our wealth building tools and compensation model, but you also now have the ability, like you just shared in your story, Andrew, location freedom to be able to operate your business as long as you have a good internet connection and Wi-Fi access.
100%. And, I love the terminology that we use. We want to be the most agent-centric, agent-supportive company in the world. Voted as the eXp Realty, voted as one of the best companies to work for the past 8 years. But the reason why I say that, because the words that come up in our environment here locally in South Africa on a regular basis is there's this feeling of family. There's this feeling of community. There's the collaborative spirit. I've mentioned this all before. But eXp gives you freedom, the freedom to run your own business and be your own entrepreneur. And whatever you put in is what you get out. And just we're having great experiences here locally. And the agents are certainly loving the experience. So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Now, I think on top of just the compensation model and the technology and the ability to earn freedom, something that, I hear a lot of that when you guys talk about the model and eXp Realty South Africa is the community and the family aspect of it as well. And I've seen this, right, across your social media profile, across eXp Realty South Africa's official social media profiles as well. There's all kinds of events always happening. There's road shows, there's breakfast and lunch happening. There's virtual events. So I would love for you, Andrew, to share, about these events because some people they might look at eXp Realty and they see this virtual brokerage and they might think, well, am I just going to be put into this, this agency and I'm not going to have any connections? And from what I've seen, at least on social media, that's completely not the case because it seems like the eXp Realty South Africa agents are very tight knit and very close together and always seeming to have some type of event going on.
Kobe, some of the best calls we get here locally in South Africa is to say, where are your offices? And we own no infrastructure in South Africa. Okay, so we operate in a virtual environment, and that's a given. And so what we've really gone out and what we really wanted to do was one is to really show face in terms of meeting our people. One, meeting our leadership. Two, meeting our very own agent team. And I heard a story that Glenn Sanford did 365 agent attractions in 365 days, traveling through America, literally in his first year, 2009, 2010. He bought himself an RV and he drove through America. He officially did 365 agent attractions in 365 days. So I thought last year, just before last year, I thought, 2024, what are we going to do differently? And I thought, wow, what happens if we do 52 road shows in 52 weeks? And we achieved that during last year. And what it did for us was it gave us the ability to go out and meet our very own agent team, meet our very own leadership team, bring some foreigners in terms of international presence into our organization, show face in those areas. But our business is about relationships. You can be online as much as you want on a Google Meets, on a Zoom call, in a virtual world, whatever it might be. But our business is about people. It's about relationships. And you've got to be out there meeting people. And we give that opportunity on a regular basis. So this year we're doing about 40 events in the big cities across South Africa. Next year, I'm going to go back to 52 roadshows, 52 weeks, because it worked so well during last year. We almost presented to more than 10% of the real estate audience of agents here locally in South Africa during last year. Now, if you really think about that, one is you are on a drive for retention, retaining your best agents within the organization through building great relationships and a superior rapport with those individuals, but also you're interacting with external agents, looking in, feel the culture, feel the values, realize who you are as people, and not only yourself, but your audience of real estate agents that surround you. And what ends up happening is successful people, happy people, good people attract other happy, good, and successful people. And that's the journey that we're on. So, 1,300 agents today. I think by the end of December next year, 2,600 agents here locally in South Africa. And that will push the needle for us to be the largest real estate the largest real estate agency in South Africa by agent count, but we won't be the biggest in terms of production. But I really believe by that time we'll be the number one lister in every single province of South Africa. We're dominating literally every province at present moment, but we're sitting at number 2 and number 3 in certain provinces. And that's only after 4.5 years of operation. So hats off to our team. And I just want to reiterate, we've come down from the 6,000th largest real estate company in South Africa. And according to ChatGPT, we are now at number 3 in South Africa. So to go from 0 agents to 1,300, and then the prospect now, and we learned from America, the minute Glenn Sanford hit 1,000 agents after 6 or 7 years, he went from 0 agents in 2009 to 452 agents in 2015, 1,000 agents in 2016. 2017 hit 6,000 agents in America. I think sitting at 60,000 agents at the present moment across the country. And if you watch that needle and that growth in terms of that graph, we had a situation now, 1,300 agents. We should very quickly, rapidly ramp up to almost double our agent count within a 18-month to 2-year period. And I think that's realistic.
Wow. I mean, that's an incredible story of growth. And I mean, for other listeners out there that might be in a different country, you think of like just the overall number, the objective number of over 1,000 agents, 1,300 agents, right? But you have to look at, I think, the overall population of real estate agents in South Africa. And like you mentioned, Andrew, eXp has gone from the 6,000th largest agency, right? Which is, kind of all the way at the bottom of the list. Now, in just a couple of years, the third largest real estate agency in the entire country of all the agencies that are available and continuing to grow. And you mentioned it's going to be the largest agency in really about a year's time. So, clearly eXp Realty has grown very tremendously in South Africa. So agents are seeing the value, they are coming over, and they are excited about the model as well. Now, eXp as compared to existing real estate agencies, right? There's obviously from the research that I've done, real estate agencies that are based in South Africa that has, been around much longer, that maybe have a little bit more brand recognition because of the seniority they have in the market, and also other global brands that are maybe US based and also available in South Africa, right? Like you mentioned, Keller Williams is very popular there as well. So when you're thinking of comparing the eXp model and its brand recognition, do you get agents who come to you, maybe they like the model and they see the benefit, they see the value, but they're just not willing to kind of pick up where they're at now and move over because they don't necessarily see eXp as kind of the brand dominator in the industry just yet? And what would you say to these agents?
Kobe, that's a hell of a good question. I sort of rely on my very own agent team to have those discussions because they are the agent attractors. But I think, what you want to say to people is go out there and research. Go find out as much as you can about eXp. Come into some of our road shows, some of our events. Just feel the culture, feel the values. Okay. Really understand how this business is built. Just remember, we're not spending money on bricks and mortar. My head office structure in terms of leadership in South Africa is 25 leadership. Okay. And that's the most we've ever had. We're not going to grow much bigger than that. But in a traditional agency, you'll have a head office structure servicing 1,300 agents of some 250 to 350 staff servicing 1,300 agents. So I think some of the objection process is to say to that agent, you've got to see where your money is going to. Okay, because if you're on a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split, 70-30, even a little bit more than that, where is your money being spent? Because you are the agent, doing all the hard work. All right. And you putting in all the effort, the time, your money, your time, your effort, your results. Okay. And what are you getting out of it? You're paying for bricks and mortar, you're paying for a big head office structure. And where with eXp, you can be your own boss and have the ability to be entrepreneurial, control your own life, be in a game changing environment, a wealth creating environment, and change the future, not only for yourself, but for your entire family. All right. And for me, that is what could change, because a person that really understands that and then attracts the rest of their team and their colleagues and their friends and starts molding an organization around them. You go ask that organization and that mold of team that's been created, how many people they know around the world, in Canada, UK, USA, Australia, New Zealand, and you start building this international organization of real estate professionals. Now, what's really lovely about South Africa, just in terms of agent attraction, is the ability to attract not only individuals, but domestic teams. You can attract teams as well, small teams, 5, 8s, 10s, etc. We're starting to attract teams of 30s and 70s now coming into our organization, and from some of those big franchise brands that you've already mentioned, which is quite key. But the nice thing about South Africa is there are these big family brands, which are 1,100, 1,200 agents that are family brands that only operate here locally in South Africa. All right. And those kind of brands where, Kobe, you could open the door to that brand, have the discussion with that broker owner, and have the ability to attract a team of 1,100, 1,200 agents. And the top 15 companies, top 1 5 companies in South Africa range from around about 600 agents all the way through to about 1,800 agents in terms of those family businesses. Now, just picture yourself having that discussion. It opens one door, one discussion with one individual, and you could have the ability to swing 1,100, 1,200, 1,800 agents across through one discussion. And my feeling on that is there are people that can do that around the world. There are people locally here in South Africa that can have those kind of discussions. And I myself, together with my financial team, we are here to support you in terms of doing business plans, putting that all together, framing it correctly, because those kind of discussions, they're not just once-off discussions, they're relationship build discussions, and they normally take 8, 9, 10, 11 months, even longer, even up to 2 years. But they're worthwhile discussions because you wouldn't have to work again. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest opportunity on the revenue share side for the eXp business model, I think. It's not just the ability to attract the individual agents, but also teams and up to entire agencies as well, that they will see the benefit on what it will do for them, but also what it will do for their agents, and move and essentially merge their entire agency through the eXp platform as well. So just to kind of wrap up for today, Andrew, I would love for you to share on the benefits, not just for the individual agent, but why would an agency actually consider rolling over their entire company over under the eXp brand?
So I think in a nutshell there, Kobe, the biggest thing is we incentivize the team leader. Whoever the most senior person is in that organization, we've got structures in place where there are 3 or 4 different team structures that they could swing across on and opt for. And there are incentives available in the form of shares. There are incentives available in terms of revenue share. There's incentives available in terms of upfront monetary value through some of our vendor arrangements that we've got. And I think it would be vitally important just for those team leaders to understand that there is an incentive that comes through to the team leader at the top. And if those discussions can take place, reduce down to a business plan, what is absolutely key, I said it earlier, more importantly, if the relationship can be built, the discussions can be held openly in terms of real open discussions, I think it's quite easy to attract those businesses across, but it takes a length of time to get those discussions to closure. And I think as long as people understand that, I think that's vitally important.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for taking some time and joining us on the show today. I really had a great time talking with you. I always do. And before we let you hop off here, if anybody wanted to learn a little bit more about eXp Realty South Africa, what are some of the best places that they can actually get some information and learn a little bit more about the eXp model, specifically in South Africa?
Yeah, so Kobe, and I think for anything that we do, we take a very unselfish approach with regards to growth. So we always push it back to the person that influenced you to have a look at eXp Realty South Africa. And I think that is very important in the manner that our leadership approaches our business and the manner that we convey the message out to various parties. But if you do want to get a hold of us, just pop onto www.expsouthafrica.co.za. I'd give you my cell phone number, but I'm available on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. Very easy to get a hold of. I'm available 24/7 in terms of communication. Contactable on an international number here locally, 087-821-2535. And like I say, if you want to contact me on WhatsApp, I've got WhatsApp addresses. Work chat, if you're an eXp Realty agent, just reach out to Andrew Thompson and I'll respond to you immediately. There shouldn't be any problem in that regard. Thank you very much indeed.
Yep, absolutely, and I can vouch for that personally as well because we've communicated quite a bit on work chat. So I'll make sure to leave some of the links that you mentioned, Andrew, in the description, the show notes down below. But thanks again, man, for being on the show. Before I let you go, do you have any last pieces of advice, just anything you want to leave with our audience before we let you sign off?
Kobe, we've penciled in a date, 18th, 19th of February 2026. 18th, 19th of February 2026. We're planning to do eXp Con Cape Town. And I'd love you just to put that in your diaries right now. They're going to be pre and post tours to the big five game reserves up to Victoria Falls, Botswana, post events to golf tours, mountain bike trails, whatever it might be. We want the guys to come to South Africa, experience South Africa, eXpCon 2026, 18th, 19th of February. We're also going to be hosting our annual awards down in Cape Town on the 20th of February for our local agents, and we'd love you to come in and participate in those events. And the reason why I'm saying it is you've got enough time to plan for your families. If you've got children, a spouse, etc., and you want to come with the family to South Africa, just picture coming to South Africa at 20 Rand to $1. It'll be a very cheap holiday, a great experience. Enjoy Cape Town, one of the top five destinations, city destinations in the world. And we can certainly showcase South Africa in the best possible manner. Through those sessions, you will meet our leadership team, our agent team. You'll have the ability to interact with other agents. You could bring external agents into eXpCon 2026. And I think that would be the most worthwhile experience in terms of your calendar for next year. Kobe, really appreciate you. Thanks for your time. And I hope that's been helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely, Andrew. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next show. Take care.